يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين.
Assalaamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In this video, we will work through the example in exercise 10.3. This is within the Munaasakha chapter, and the answers to this exercise can be found at the end of the video. In this example, Zainab passes away, leaving behind a husband, two uncles, and a mother. Then the husband passes away, leaving behind 4 sons from another wife. So because of the husband having different heirs to Zainab, this will be scenario 2 of Munaasakha. So we'll start off, the first thing that we will do is give out the shares for Zainab's inheritance. The husband will get a half since there's no children. The 2 uncles will get asaba between them, and the mother will get thuluth because there's no children or siblings. Next, we choose a base number. Well, we've got a third and a half. The base number will be 6. The husband will get 3 out of 6. The uncles will get the asaba amount, which will work out in a second. The mother will get a third of 6, which is 2. Therefore, the asaba amount is 1. Now, before we move on, the uncles have got 1 share, but there's 2 uncles. We're going to need a multiplier, and the multiplier we'll need is 2. So we have to multiply everything by 2. The base number 6 will turn to 12. The husband's 3 shares will turn to 6. The uncle's 1 share will turn to 2, which now can be divided by the 2 uncles. They'll get 1 each. And the mother's 2 shares will become 4. Now, that's all sorted for Zainab's inheritance for her heirs. Now, the husband passes away. So we put a box around husband, and whatever shares the husband had at this moment in time, which is 6, we will write that for the husband's shares kept aside above the line on the left hand side. So as you can see, the arrow shows it. We write that 6 over there, we put it in a box, and that will be the shares kept aside. We can ignore that for now and work out the husband's inheritance. So the husband's got 4 sons. It will be asaba between them. The base number will be 4, and they will get 1 each. So now we look at these 2 numbers. Which 2 numbers? The shares kept aside, which is 6 in purple there, and the 4, which is the secondary base number. So we look at these 2 shares, and we have to look at the relationship between them. Now the relationship between them is tawafuq. So we've learned that in the kitab. Because there are 2 numbers which share a common factor greater than 1, then they are called tawafuq. So 1 number doesn't go into the other, but they share a common factor. So 4 doesn't go into 6. However, there is a common factor that goes into both of them, which is 2. So what do we do when it's tawafuq? Now, as you can see from the ruling, the first thing we need to do is to find the highest common factor between the 2 numbers, which is 2. Next, we divide each of these 2 numbers, the shares kept aside and the secondary base number, by the HCF. So we start off with the right hand side. We'll do 4 divided by 2. 4 is the secondary base number in blue, and 2 is the HCF. We'll do 4 divided by 2, and we'll get 2, and we write it in brackets next to the 4. We'll do exactly the same thing on the left hand side. So we get the shares kept aside 6 in purple. We divide it by 2, which is the HCF, and the answer we get is 3. And that 3 again will be written in brackets next to the 6. So what do we do with these numbers? Now, as you can see from the ruling, we multiply the 2, which is in brackets, upwards, and we multiply the 3, which is in brackets, downwards. So we multiply everything up by 2. So the uncle's 1 share will become 2. The other uncle's 1 share will become 2. The mother's 4 shares will become 8. And finally, the last thing that we need to multiply upwards is the base number 12. That needs to become 24. So we multiply each person's shares and the overall base number. We don't need to multiply the husband's shares because he's passed away, and that's one of the reasons we put the box there. And on the other side, the 3 in brackets, that needs to be multiplied downwards to everyone there. So each son who had 1 share will now get 3. So 3, 3, 3, 3, and now that is complete. So in summary, the base number will be 24. The uncle will get 2. The other uncle will get 2. The mother will get 8 out of 24. And each of the sons, the husband's sons, will get 3, 3, 3, and 3. That adds up to 24. And therefore, Zainab's estate has now been distributed between her heirs. And because her husband passed away, his heirs also has now been complete. Jazakallah.
ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم